So what is SSL exactly? SSL is old. Now it's called TLS for Transport Layer Security, and it's used to encrypt the connection between two endpoints for secure data exchange. As I mentioned before, SSL and TLS are used interchangeably today in terms of naming, so we'll keep on referring TLS as SSL in the rest of the course. Here's your computer, and you're trying to access google.com. As you can see, the URL for google.com is HTTPS. So HTTPS stands for the fact that your connection is going to be encrypted. And in between, this is going to be the SSL protocol, HTTPS, and it will be a secure and secret exchange of information between you and Google or any secure website that start with HTTPS. So it will be based on SSL certificates, and when a certificate is trusted, when it is a good SSL certificate, you will see that green lock secure when you visit Google's website. If you don't visit Google's website or visit a bad website, it may show an unsecure or a red lock, and that means that you may get your packets intercepted and that SSL is badly set up. So anyways, there are two ways of using SSL, and Kafka can use both, as we'll see. The first one is one-way verification, the browser to the web server. That's what happens when you visit google.com, and that's for encryption. So any website you use, you're going to get their SSL certificates, make sure it's valid, and that's what browser like Google Chrome will do. And then if it's okay, it will display a nice secure green button, and it will do encryption. So the data that you exchange between you and the website, say for example the credit card information, is secure and no one can intercept it. Pretty reassuring, right? The other way is called two-way verification, and that's called SSL authentication. And that's something we'll see in this course, but it's basically that now your computer also has an SSL certificate, and it can authenticate using this to a website or a service. So for SSL, for encryption, here's how things look like. Be careful, that slide is quite a lot, and it can be complicated. You may not understand everything, that's okay, but I wanted to give you an overview of how things worked. So hang on to your seats and let's get started. You have your Kafka client, and on the right hand side you have your Kafka server. Easy, right? So the first thing we have to do is to set up our certificates, our SSL certificates. For this, we are going to use something called a certificate authority, and there's about 20 certificate authorities on the public web, but because our Kafka setup server is going to be private, we will use our own certificate authority. So first we'll have to do is, for the Kafka server, we'll have to create a key store. And that key store basically will have to store certificates. So first we're going to request a certificate to sign for a broker, for kafka1example.com. And once the certificate authority received the certificate and signed it, it will send it back to our broker. That's just a setup phase, by the way. And then in the key store, we will have a server certificates signed by the certificate authority, or CA. Okay, that's just what it's set up on the right hand side. So basically our broker creates certificates for its host name, send it to the CA reply back with the signing of the certificates, meaning the CA approves it, and now Kafka in the key store has a set of certificates. All right, on the left hand side now, we will have a trust store, and that trust store is similar to a key store but not exactly the same, in which case the trust store needs to trust the certificate authority. But trusting means that any certificate signed by that certificate authority is legit, and that's called trusting. That's the whole principle behind SSL. So your Google Chrome browser, for example, trusts the main 20 certificate authorities that can issue SSL certificates, okay? But the one we'll create is private, therefore we'll have to tell our Kafka client to trust that certificate authority using a trust store. So what will happen is that there will be a green, as you can see, CA root public certificate in our trust store so that our client can trust it. Easy, right? Okay, let's get started. We have done all the setup on certificates, and we'll see this in the hands-on. This is how we do it. Now our Kafka client needs to connect to the Kafka server. So what happens? They will perform something called an Ssl Handshake. So the first thing we'll do is that upon connection, the Kafka client will request something from the Kafka server, and that is the signed SSL certificates. So this Kafka server will send a part of a signed SSL certificates and say, here is my identity. Now the Kafka client is going to verify the SSL certificate from the server. It needs to make sure that it is a good one, that it is legit. And for this, to verify the SSL certificates, it will use its trust store. Then, once it's agreed that the SSL certificate is good, it will be a secure SSL encrypted communication between the client and the server. Okay? So that's about it for SSL. You need to remember that diagram, revise it, but everything we're going to do in the next hands-on lectures will be related directly to this. And this is how it works. Don't worry, once the setup is done, it's just a few configs and things work out for you. But in this lecture, I wanted to really explain what will happen so you're not blinded. All right? Well, see you in the next lecture.